If you are constantly feeling exhausted or not feeling as fit as you can be, or just looking to max out your performance, then this video is for you. I run a $30 million startup, which means I have hundreds of people who are constantly counting on me. So I've really been forced to figure out how to optimize my health in order to take care of myself and therefore be able to take care of others. And so I'm actually about to drop $10,000 on an executive physical where they're about to do a full body health scan. And so I figured, why not take you along the journey with me today through that process, while also teaching you guys how I take care of my physical health. So how I make sure to get enough sleep, get enough exercise, and also eat right, while also taking care of the more important variable that I think no one else really talks about, which is how do you take care of your mental health amidst all of this pressure and stress that you're under. Oh, and also this is the same scan that Bryan Johnson does, and I actually had dinner at his place last week, and boy, do I have some crazy stories that I'll share with y'all at the end. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
You ready to go see that my genetics are gonna go create NBA level babies?
Now we're talking, dude. Yeah. The next dude, forget about Bronny, bro. We're getting Johnny.
Johnny, dude. Little Johnny. You know what I'm worried about? Is I'm worried that all of my age tests are gonna come back and it's be like, dude, you are so stress-wise that you're actually 75 and you're gonna die and you're gonna have an aneurysm soon. As long as we see Stan exit for over $1 billion, and it was worth it, right? So there are two key pillars you should be thinking about. Number one is your physical health. So your sleep, your fitness, your nutrition. And then number two is your mental health, where with the physical health stuff, at this point, we all know that you should probably be sleeping a little bit more, ideally working out a little bit more and eating a little bit healthier. And so I think the more interesting question there is much more so around how do you actually make sure to do those things rather than just say you're gonna do them. And so I'll go over my process later on of how I make sure to do those things. But I think the most interesting question to talk about is actually pillar number two around your mental health. Because if you think about it, your mental health is actually a precursor to your physical health. Because if you're not feeling great, if you're feeling stressed or you're feeling anxious, you're likely not gonna be sleeping super well. You're likely not gonna be working out as much. And you're probably gonna be eating a lot more unhealthy foods as some sort of compensation to feel better. Especially when you consider that something like entrepreneurship, where you're trying to be a super high performer with lots of pressure, comes innately with so much fear and also chronic uncertainty, you're likely just not gonna be in a great mental health state, right? And so when it comes to my mental health routine, I start first by not even thinking about how do I take care of my mental health today. I start first with thinking about how do I actually start prepping my mental health the night before, because your mental health the day of is actually first a function of how well you sleep the night before. And so I start every single night trying my very best to unplug at least an hour before I start sleeping. So that means unplugging from blue light, trying my best to unplug from work, even if it's a late night or I'm super stressed about a bunch of different things, because I know that if I can get 8 quality hours of sleep, that sleep cycle is going to clean out and help me process so much of the stress that accumulates. And then from there, when I wake up, the number one thing that I always try to make sure to do is that I do everything that I can to not check my phone first thing in the morning and instead do the Huberman protocol of getting out there, seeing sunlight.
Wake up in the morning, get out of bed, get outside and get as much light energy or photons in your eyes.
And then for me personally, I always start my day with some sort of exercise, where at this point for me, if I don't exercise in the morning, like I'm such a grumpy person and I like literally question my sanity throughout the day. And so I make sure to get that workout in, make sure to get some sort of sweat in. So whether it's going to the gym, getting a surf in, going on a long walk if I'm tired, because I know that unless I work out that day, I'm gonna be such a grump, and that's not gonna set up myself or my team for success. And then from there, as I hit the onslaught of my day and all the chaos and all the triggers and all the stressors, what have you, as those start to accumulate, my best days are the ones where I have the wherewithal and the awareness that midway through my afternoon, I'll schedule a 10-minute meditation session or just a 10 or 15-minute walk around the block to start to process and slow down all of the signals that are coming in. Because like I was saying before, you're just constantly accumulating all of this crud, all of these stressors that are starting to compound in your brain. And so as part of my unplug process during the evening, I make sure to take out my journal and process and let go and write down all of the things that are clouding my judgment or hard things that I need to work through, as if I was a physics professor using a whiteboard to work through a really hard math equation. But on top of that, every single week, I always try my best to schedule at least one half of a day where I try my best to unplug and zoom out out where I'll do some sort of rest and recovery. So I'll go to Wi Spa here in LA, or I'll go for a long hike, because the number one mistake you're gonna make when you're in these stressful environments where you're like, go, 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 like I need to perform, is you get so stuck in the day-to-day where your mind is just spinning and processing. And instead, if you really wanna have the best decision-making possible, you actually need to zoom out and take a break from the day-to-day hustle and bustle. Instead, take some time to just process and reflect. And you always come back, number one, feeling so much more mentally and physically refreshed. But number two, I can pretty much guarantee you almost every time you're gonna come back with a bunch of huge insights creatively that you're really excited to work on, that's gonna unlock you to that next level. And so to summarize the process I recommend for taking care of your mental health, number one starts with unplugging an hour before bed, getting really quality 8 hours of sleep, waking up in the morning, not clouding your judgment immediately with electronics and dopamine, and instead doing hard things that actually give you joy, that make you healthy and happy, and then repeating that process week after week after week and giving yourself space to actually think clearly. Also guys, as I'm editing this, I wanted to give you one last piece of advice here, which is to get a therapist, where whether you call it a therapist or an executive coach, I need you to recognize that your brain is a muscle. And just like any other muscle in your body, it fatigues. And so just like how LeBron James spends millions of dollars a year on his body, specifically on physical therapists going through after an intense game and rubbing through all of his muscles, like his legs, like clearing out all of the gunk, you're going to have the same thing for your brain in the compounding of all the fatigue and decision making you're gonna have to go through every single day as an entrepreneur. And so I know all of you guys who already work with a good therapist know this, but that feeling when you leave a session like that, just like when you leave a PT session, you literally feel 10x on your body. But with that being said, back to the video. And so we are now pulling into step one of the process, which is I'm about to go get a full body MRI scan. And so they're gonna test for two things. One is a bunch of early cancer detection, and then two, they're gonna start figuring out what my actual biological age is.
All right, so you
Yes.
said that this is part one of this whole process.
Yes.
What is this actual full process that you're about to do?
So we're heading into step one, which is the MRI process that I just told you guys about. But then step two are the CT and InBody scans before the last step is actually blood work, where basically by the end of this, they're gonna give me 1,000 different measures on all my different biomarkers, from my genetic predisposition to different diseases, as well as my hormone levels and how those benchmark. And then lastly, they'll give me a number for my genetic age across all these different biomarkers, which hopefully isn't like 75 because of all the stress of running a startup.
So I'm curious, what's the reason for doing this now? Why make this big investment?
Well, first off, I can finally start to afford crazy things like this. Like, this is such a privilege. But then the rational way to think about it is like, this is $10,000 total, but what's the probability it could increase my lifespan by at least a year? Like, would I pay $10,000 to live a year longer in my life in a happy, healthy way? Like, it seems like kind of a no-brainer. And so that's just the baseline. But the thing that actually got me really excited about this is I kind of obsess over like high performance, and I think a lot about how LeBron spends millions of dollars on his body. And so to think like, if he's doing that, like, if you think about it, like, we're just like machines and meat boxes that one can optimize ideally. And so the better I feel, the better I can perform, and that just like really excites me from a performance perspective. So. All right, I'm gonna go change into an outfit that I brought for this.
Let's do a sick transition. Ready? Give me like a spin or something.
I don't know, guys. Fit's kind of sick. Look at my shoes, the kicks.
Bro got the hospital 4s on.
Hospital 4s. All right, we're walking out with this.
John?
How's it going?
It's going great. I'll just have you stand over here, and then if you could do a full spin around that machine. All right, that is perfect.
The diagnostic says I'm sick.
Oh, it's chilly, dude. Yeah, so you'll eat us throughout the exam, and there's going to be some stuff over you, so it'll kind of balance itself out. But whenever you're ready, you can lay back with your head there. You're looking at just about 45 to 50 minutes in total today.
Is this a bad time for me to tell you that I don't really like tight spaces?
No, that's a perfect time. So it's very good.
Okay. We're good.
And then in your right hand, I'm going to drop a little squeeze button there. If you need me for anything, just give that one a press. I'll pause whatever's going on to make sure you're okay. But if you can just give it a test real quick. Perfect. Be checking in with you anyway, but just want to make sure.
I hope you make it, John. Payday's tomorrow, so I need you to at least pull through one more day.
Well, I think we're turning me into a transformer, so I should be okay. I'll actually come back better than ever.
Good luck, John.
See you guys.
You got it.
Tell my mom I love her. Still doing okay? Great. Perfect.
Hey, it's me, Jay Hovey. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yo.
Well, I lost one of my shoes during the MRI session.
How do you feel?
Good. He was like, feel free to fall asleep in there. And I was like, what are you talking about? It sounds like a war zone in here. It sounds like tanks. Like, it sounded like he was back in Call of Duty. But what was interesting is they make you do a bunch of long breath holds. And I was actually thinking, like, thank God I actually do the Wim Hof breathing meditation all the time, which I realized, pro tip for you guys, one of the best ways that if I'm like feeling tired and I really need to focus, or I just like really need to get back in my body, the Wim Hof breathing meditation that's for free on YouTube, I do all the time. Basically it's 30 deep breaths in, out, and then you hold your breath for 1.5 minutes plus. And there's something about just like holding your breath, first of all, realizing you can hold your breath that long, it really forces you back into your body. It's a really, really good reset from a mental health perspective. So that's a huge pro tip. I do it all the time, at least a couple times a week. And I bet if I did it every single day, I'd be the most clear-headed version of myself. So now from here, I'm gonna get out of this sick fit, back into my regular clothes. We're gonna go take a biomarker test where they're gonna draw a bunch of different blood samples. And then from there, run a bunch of different tests and get my actual physical biological age. Nice. Here it is. They're gonna draw my blood right here.
There he is. There's a doctor.
Yeah. So we're now here at Next Health for step number 2 for my body scans and my blood work. So let's head inside. It's a pretty cool facility. Crazy how much out-of-pocket healthcare has advanced the last few years, where this is like insanely bougie, right? Like this service in and of itself, and all the different services they're offering, like stem cell stuff and vitamin B12 shots and IV and cryotherapy all in this one place. And it's clearly a very successful business financially too, but it makes sense to me because I was actually talking to Sahil Bloom the other day, who's very well known in the creator and entrepreneur space, where he was telling me that there's actually more billionaires reaching out to him now, not so much about like how to be more successful, but specifically on how to be healthier or to be as in shape as he is, because I think we as society are realizing like not everything is about like career success and wealth in that way, and instead we're all just humans on this planet who are all going to die one day. So why not maximize how healthy and how much we enjoy that time on earth, because health is the new wealth. A little IV lounge. I'm gonna come here when I'm hungover.
Yeah, this is pretty nice. Is this
super
recline?
nice.
I think I see a button there to
Oh, see you guys.
There you go.
Bye. Hey Caroline.
How are you feeling here?
Doing great.
Yay!
Sweet.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let me see those veins. You're John, right?
Yes.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Have you eaten anything?
I'm not.
You're so good. We are actually going to give you the sunlight menu so you can choose something.
So you have one that's called both the $1 million smoothie and also the $1 billion smoothie.
$1 yes.
Yeah, right?
I feel like we have to get the $1 billion smoothie.
You gotta do the $1 billion
Yeah,
smoothie.
okay,
I
we're
mean,
gonna get the $1 billion
You wanna do that
smoothie. Even if it doesn't taste good, I'm gonna drink it.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you
People
feel
enjoy
really
it, so.
good.
This is the part of the video where I faint.
Right, we're like, all right, I'm out of here. Wonderful, I gotcha.
Sweet. Well, that's a lot of vials.
Yeah, so basically we do like different labs. So we have a bunch of fancy tests we're doing for you with DEP.
Yeah.
So these first 4 that I'm taking from you are the total wellness, like you're getting the total baseline and everything that Vibrant has to offer.
Yeah.
And then on these other 2, you're getting everything that the True Age has to offer. So that's kind of like the one that tells you your biological age. You're almost done, right?
Sweet.
And I'm also gonna grab a DNA sample from you too for the 3x4.
Cool.
That one I had done. I think it's really cool too. It kind of looks at your genes and it puts together what genes you have that predispose you to maybe having more inflammation markers, or maybe cardio is better for you because you have more endurance genes than strength training or something like that.
Oh, that's super interesting.
Right? So it's really cool information.
Mine's gonna come back that I was supposed to be a D1 athlete, right?
Right, exactly. I'm sure that's how it works.
If you were to describe what this test is doing in general, like what is it doing for people?
It's kind of showing you everything about your health so you can have a clear picture. So we're looking at cancer detection, we're looking at like all your autoimmune markers, we're looking at your heart health, we're looking at not only that, but like the 3x4 that I was talking about, like
Yeah.
how you can work with your body to be more in par with what will work for you.
Yeah.
So like the food sensitivity and the gut health things that come with the vibrant stuff will also help you know what to eat. You know what I mean?
Oh, cool. So I'm getting early cancer detection, hormone biomarkers. I'm also getting food sensitivity stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's all that gluten-free stuff. Like everyone's always worried about, are they gluten-free or celiac or not?
Right.
And then I'm getting markers on like my athletic performance skew. So what? That's really interesting.
Right, everything.
So this is like the most.
Micronutrient too, like what?
Oh, micronutrient.
Yeah.
What is micronutrients?
Kind of like all the nutrients that you have, like your levels of them.
Oh, so like what I'm deficient at micronutrient wise. So I'm gonna learn a lot about myself today.
It's like the best. That's why I love our labs, because you
That's
can
cool.
learn so many things.
How you feel? Are you gonna pass out when you stand up, or are you feeling good?
We'll see.
I'll have $1 billion smoothie for you.
So if I drink this, that means I'm gonna build $1 billion company, right?
Exactly. Manifestation through smoothie.
Love it.
Okay,
All right. So what's next?
what's next? We're actually going to do the InBody. So we're going to look at body composition, we're going to look at muscle, fat, and then water weight. So I can take you over there. All right, so for this, all you're going to do is you're going to take off your socks and your shoes. All right, you will step right up there, make sure those are aligned. Perfect. It's going to start by measuring your weight first.
Oh wow, 110 pounds? Crazy.
You're going to grab those little handles, they kind of pull up, and then you'll have your arms straight out and away from your body, so like this. That's
Cool.
perfect.
And what is this about to tell me?
It's going to tell you everything about your composition, so how much muscle you have in each of your limbs and your trunk, how much fat mass that you have as well. It's going to show visceral fat.
I'm watching the percent body fat go up and up and up.
Perfect. You can put those back. You can put your socks and your shoes back on. It's going to give me a little printout that you can take home as well.
Sweet. Is this like not good basically and you want to be in here?
So you actually want to be like right here. That's kind of where the average lies.
Okay.
So that's like a healthier range.
But we want to be better than average, right? So we want to be to the left? Or the...
Yeah, more this way.
Okay,
More to the
cool.
left.
All right, so I just got back from my blood work and body scans, and so now I want to sit down with you guys and share all of my learnings from my dinner with Bryan Johnson and how I take care of my physical health. So the first thing Bryan Johnson does when you get to his house for dinner is he sits you down and he says that this is going to be the most monumental night of your life. And he actually kind of delivers. Where you kick off the night and Bryan runs you through a bunch of different physical age marker tests. So whether it's your grip strength, your flexibility and balance, the age of your skin, which I was really bad on because I get a ton of sun damage from surfing. And then also things like how uninjured are you, where there's actually this percussive tool that we use that can spot any musculoskeletal injury that you had and ideally help accelerate the healing of that. And then from there, you have dinner with Bryan for the real meat of the conversation actually happens, where Bryan goes through the 3 main tenets he believes are the optimal factors to focus on for your physical health. And those 3 are sleep, fitness, and nutrition, where Bryan actually is so extreme in his belief around sleep that he literally sat down and said to us, sleep is more important than your partner and your family, which is an incredibly extreme statement. And I think Bryan is hyper intentional about using mimetic extreme statements to actually get people's attention for the sake of his mission. But for me, it really trickled down into, okay, I really need to take this sleep thing seriously, where for the last few years, we've been hearing all across the scientific world, like sleep is super important, but to have someone so starkly put that in front of you, like this is your life, this is your life on drugs and this is your life on sleep. Like this is your life trajectory if you sleep 8 hours a day, and this is your life trajectory if you continue to sleep 5 to 6 hours and not take it seriously. We're in the moment when we're stuck on our phones, we're scrolling Instagram, or we're watching YouTube, or we're DJing playing way too many video games. That short-term behavior has incredibly long-term compounding effects. Whereas if you just get one night's good sleep and you have that one fresh feeling and that creative mindset, like that could be the day where you think of your $1 billion idea. Not to mention, you will live years longer. And that sets you up really well for the second category here, which is fitness, where I personally look to move in some sort of way every single day of the week. Like in some ways, I don't really think that I can function super well without having moved and having sweat and just gotten physically present outside of my head. And it doesn't have to be super high intensity every day, where when I plot out my full week, I'm actually only going to the gym to lift weights or work out in a conventional way 2 or 3 times a week at most. Instead, I'm really interspersing fun physical activities that I personally enjoy throughout my week to get my body moving. So whether that's surfing, going on a long run, going on a hike or a long, slow walk if my body's really physically tired, but I'm basically finding some sort of way to get into my body, get out of my head, and just be the human being, the animal that I think we were born to be, which is to move and experience life in that way. And the last thing Bryan talks about is nutrition. AKA, are the things you're putting in your body actually toxic for it? Or are they things that are gonna fuel you and help you feel like your best self? And so for me, I don't think I'll ever be one of those intense vegan keto biohackers who's super religious about everything they put in their body, because I just love eating fried foods way too much. But it's about finding that healthy 20-80 rule, where at this point, I pretty much cut out all processed foods possible, and I really focus on eating healthy whole foods all the time, rather than putting in some sort of like 1900s processed, chemically laced, high fructose corn syrup, mass manufactured snack food. But if I've learned anything from Bryan on all his physical health stuff, is that the keys to longevity are actually extremely simple, but it's really just about the discipline of how truly committed you are to taking care of yourself and therefore taking care of all of the other people in your life. And so that's why you're seeing me take this test and invest so much money into it, because I really want to show up as my best self for Stan and all of our customers and all of my teammates. And so I'll let you know when the results come in, and make sure to subscribe so you can see the entire journey from here.